Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Doctor Who review, episode number 90. Yep, 90. We're roughly 10 episodes away from episode number 100 for this series. I figured I wanted to bring it back at least this time, and wait a full year this time like I did before. Yeah, this time was only like about 3 months. Not actually, it was like a little over 2 months. It wasn't too bad. So, in the case of particular one, we're here reviewing, believe it or not, the third to last story left the cover for season 15 of the show, Image of Fendahl. Which I found on some interesting little factoids this one. This was released from October 29th to November 19th of 1977. Which makes this story coming out roughly about, I think about almost 45 years ago. No, 48 years ago. Yes. And I found some interesting little factors this one. Number one, we have a brand new album for Leela that will return in the following story and not appear on very much. This will be Leela. Now, the actors will be Leela. Louise Jameson. She announced during the filming of this very story that she decided to leave. She's going to leave at the end of the season. She probably had the reasons. Probably also, and I have a theory. She probably got tired of all of the flack she was getting from Mary White House, maybe, or maybe she thought it was time to move on. It's possible. Also, they had the Fendahl thing appearing here. The voice of it. The actress who voices the Fendahl is Wanda Venton. Now, this is interesting when it comes to her, because you see, prior to this story, she had just given birth, and this is shocking. This woman is the mother of Benedict Cumberbatch. I'm like, what, the star of Sherlock and Doctor Strange? Yeah. So I get a chance to hear Benedict Cumberbatch's mom is basically a voiceover for this one, which is kind of interesting. Yes. And it's something that Benedict Cumberbatch has never appeared in Doctor Who. But yeah, his mom has. I'm like, that would be an interesting idea for him to do, appearing like an episode of Doctor Who, but who knows? I mean, the guy is super busy. Like, having a quick guest star appearance. Like, having a guest star, not appear, I guess, as a character per se, but as a guest star. So, this story starts out at this. By the way, it's never said in the story, but I have heard that this is set in present day at the time this was released. The year it came out, 1977. So, it's a weird, this one, where we have these 4 scientists studying his skull. We have one doing electronic stuff. And there's also some murders happening, which they barely get followed with all. Like, it gets referenced to this other creature appears in part 4 that's responsible for it. Oh, and have these security guys are hired by one of the older scientists who apparently is rich. And you look at him like, wait, he's rich? Yeah, apparently he's rich. A scientist who's balding is rich. Because he had fascination with electronics. Apparently he used to be a regular scientist, and then he been fascinated with electronics, which in story developed having him have an obsession with electronics to the point where he apparently is seeing visions of dig sites. Yeah, it's really weird. The doctor's involved in the story is that there's sort of this weird time thing in this area where this village, and he gets caught up in it, which is odd, but nothing unusual for him. Surprisingly, the only kind of monster we see the whole time in this one, we don't see any monsters until part 3. We see this worm creature that apparently is a Fendahl. And then we see that the female scientist, the only female scientist there, is later taken by one of the air scientists who keeps disappearing on them, and he apparently he's a cultist. Well, basically someone who worships who basically is part of a cult, and like he basically offers her to become the image of Fendahl, and she just becomes the Fendahl for some reason, where she looks like she has painted eyes. It is kind of weird. One point, Doctor checked in the storeroom, and then she just out of the storeroom for the next episode. Apparently, in the novelization, he gave a hearty kick to the door. Now, given the size of Tom Baker, I can buy the fact he probably kicked down a freaking door. Yeah, because when I read, Tom Baker is a really tall guy, and it's surprising he didn't hurt his foot. But I'm sure he probably. They probably wrote in the story that he probably, because Time Lords maybe are super strong, because the thing about Time Lords, aside from the fact they live a long time, there's not a lot of, and they live a long time, they study a lot about time. Don't know much about the physiology aside from the fact that they can change their face whenever they're close to death. Yeah, like. You don't even know about Doctor's identity per se. How about basically how the species works? I mean, well, they have two hearts. But are they really super strong? It's possible. I can buy them to be super strong, because I'm sure probably that maybe the Doctor's probably using his famous martial arts he used from his previous incarnation. It's possible. But my guess is maybe Tom Baker himself probably didn't want to do it because he's a very skinny guy. I'm presuming of that, given the fact that, well, one thing I've noticed about the Doctors is that none of them ever appear chunky. They're always very thin guys. Yeah, they always look like guys, so with the exception of the first Doctor, who look like they keep very much in shape for men their age. I mean, look at, let's say, John Pertwee, for example. John Pertwee was like in his 50s when he first assumed the role of the Doctor. I think he was like 40s, I think he was. But he looked like he was in great shape. He looked like he played at cardio. He never looked like he ran out of breath on screen. Yeah, he's an actor per se, but I'm sure he probably had to do some running while basically doing his role. I'm sure that Tom Baker probably did some running. I'm sure he probably had plenty of cardio. Hey, there's a joke in one story, I think it was, featuring Colin Baker, where we see him on an exercise bike in one story. And him drinking carrot juice. Yes. All because his companion in the story fed him carrot juice. Yep. But in the case of the story itself, it is like a little bit of supernatural stuff. It is at one point that, where they came from, like, part of this planet, they got blown up in a time loop. As for who was responsible for this, apparently it was criminal, the fact that... So apparently, like, Kobe, that was one of the scientists, he apparently, like... Yeah, as for which Time Lord sealed the Fendahl in this whole Palladium time loop, never revealed. I've tried looking up, and there's been nothing. There's some expanded stuff where the Kobe comes back in one of the story. He's the cultist involved in the story, and apparently gets night terrors in the story. And there's stuff related to Eighth Doctor that's fall up here. Oh, and Kana, who appeared in the previous story. Yeah, he appears briefly at the end of the episode because the actor wasn't a cast member at this point, so he probably was brought in as a guest star, and they probably had him there, and I guess they probably just didn't have a plan. They had him continue on at that point, but later on they did. But pretty much in a way, we have two more appearances left to go for Canada Mark 1 and Leela, and then we're done with these two, and then, well... What's left after basically those two are finished up? Well, my plan is simply just to, when I finish up Leela, I am going to go to do the Romana stories, which there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, only 6 of them. So hopefully it won't take me very long. And once they're done, I'm going to go through the remaining stories for Sarah Jane. Starting with the one star from Third Doctor, and then go through the rest of Tom Baker. Yep. And then after all those rest Tom Baker stories are done. But what about Jo Grant, for example? She has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She also has 6 stories left to go. So what I might do is basically do, once I finish up Leela, I'll do Romana, and then Jo Grant, and then Sarah Jane, which she's got a good amount. She's got 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. She has 8 left. So I'll probably do Sarah Jane after do Jo Grant. So it's like Leela, Romana 2, Jo Grant, and and then Sarah Jane afterwards. Basically, just whatever I can for the rest of the Doctors per se. Though someone might be thinking like, wait, what about the things out for Christmas? I will probably watch them. Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. But yeah, that's particularly it. Particular few. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do another segment. Okay, so when it comes to Leela, before I end this video up, so for Leela, I have 2 more stories for her left. For overall for season 15, I have it's the same amount. Overall for Tom Baker, I have 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have roughly 15 stories left. Now, could one of these stories, one of these upcoming stories be episode 100? It's possible. I only have 10 more to go. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be either, I'm guessing this, it's probably going to be a Third Doctor story. That's going to be probably going to be the 100th episode. Which one? It's probably going to be a story from season 8 of the show. Yep. But I'll see you all in my next video, which will be a Comic Corner, and then I'm going to do one more comment. I'm going to do one more story for Doctor Who, and then I'll start my anime. And hopefully at that point, the other anime finally release their freaking dubs, because currently there's only about 2 shows released new episodes for it. Case Closed releases new episode Problem. Bleach releases new dub episode Problem. I'm just waiting for Blue Exorcist and Demon Lord Retry. Okay? See you next video. Bye.